The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show would like to acknowledge the traditional land owners and the leaders past, present and emerging of Ngunnawal, Ngambri and Darawal countries where we are working from today. This always was, and always will be, Aboriginal land.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Once we get to Sunday or Monday for us Aussies, it's going to be one heck of a show, I reckon. I've only really went for 2 Super Bowl championship teams. Since I've pretty much watched the Super Bowl, I've never gone for the winning team. So I remember the Peyton Manning Broncos, I went for them, but I was going for the Panthers as well. I was like on the fence in that game. But yeah, I also went for the Eagles. Okay, I mean, the Saints, Colts, and also the Steelers, Cardinals. I went for both teams because I didn't know what the game was like back then. I went for the Broncos officially because they won.
Speaking of fair contests, we've been elbow deep in the weirdest concoctions that you can get of fantasy drafts in this month.
I've liked it.
Have you had fun, Ian? Have you?
I thought it was quite fun, mate. Yeah.
Because the other 4 of us are really, we're so used to the fantasy world of it. And this year's really kind of been one of your, it's been a real year of growth for you with fantasy, and you've had to live a lot with us.
I wouldn't say growth. I'm still terrible at it.
I don't know. I've got some scoreboards here that would say that you're not terrible at it.
I'm still terrible at it. Terrible.
Did you at least have fun? Because the thing about fantasy is almost everyone loses. So as long as you have fun.
In our content league, I was neck and neck with Taylor for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
At the top. And it was great. It was a bit of fun. And then Taylor somehow does what now I know Taylor does and manages to line up the most perfect team in the most arsey way. And yeah, just flogs.
And then takes complete credit for it too, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where Manjot learned it from.
I just don't know how he does it. But anyway, yes. The last few weeks, I've enjoyed the last few weeks because they've been fun because it's different scenarios and having to think on their feet or as I was going on the podcast, like looking at it going, who am I actually going to pick here?
Who's left? Yeah,
who's left and what am I going to do? Especially this week, where I really did take some shots.
You really did. Yeah,
I swung for the fences with a defense as well.
Considering you picked Kansas to win, you took the opposing defense in fantasy, which was a pretty bold call.
I did.
Especially when you wanted Kansas to win and score lots of points. And then, it came home to roost because the defense there was the only player to score negative points.
Yeah.
And poor MVS, who's been good for a touchdown in every playoff game so far, doesn't record a catch, got 1 target. So, I think you were on the right stuff. And Boston Scott was 3 blades of grass away from a touchdown. And if it wasn't for AJ Brown, your day looked really bad. But mate, I think you were leaning on a lot of the right shit. So that's fantasy, mate.
Yeah, I took a bit of a swing, and I could have beaten Manjot in the overall standings if one of those things had come off a little bit better.
If just one of them had to, you didn't even need all of them; just needed one of them. You guys were running your own race, and it was fantastic to watch.
Look, you know what I love is that I came second. It was just the best.
Yes, talk about it.
Oh man, if Hurts didn't get all those touchdowns, man, I knew whoever had Hurts would have won.
This is not just a week where Taylor didn't get the top amount of points,
right?
And this is a week where Taylor finally did not win everything.
Yeah,
everything.
And we've been desperate for that for so long.
I think his reign at the Astro League. Let's not jinx it, but
you know what? Shaky. From somebody who hasn't been inside the group with you guys, and I've been watching from the outside. You know what it is? You know what it's actually taken though, and this is no slight on you, Matty, or Manjot for this season as well.
Right.
The last 2 seasons, what it's taken to beat Taylor is more people and diluting the way that you play, plus the addition of somebody who is equally as good at fantasy football as he is, and that's Mark.
Yeah,
that's Marky Mark. He
Okay.
met a match in Marky Mark. Did he not? Am I not wrong?
Yeah, I mean, every week
Am I wrong?
Mark is
At
just
all?
I agree with that. I agree with that, mate.
It
Mark
both
is
the
cream
dilution
salt.
of it. See, all of a sudden you're taking away players. He can't keep picking top players because there's more people picking from them, picking from that pool of top candidates. And he even had to think and start going, you took my player, you took my player, you took my player. Where previous years, it was just like last season, for instance, it was you three. And
just three of us.
He can get away with anything because you could pick any players from that group,
it made it much more fun in terms of just having a really fucking dig.
That's right. And then he had Mark going up against him, who puts in, I can see he puts in just as much time and thought into fantasy and which players to pick as Taylor does. I can really see that.
He does. He's a real student of it.
Yes.
And because of how much time he spends on the developmental part as well, I think it just gives him an appreciation for the existing players in a way that, I don't know, it just gives him a different perspective.
I liked it.
I mean, the guy wins this week, and he's got Jake Stoll in there, who we all laughed about, and he got a 0 from him, and he still put up more points than, just no one was close to Mark this week.
No,
the closest was Manchot.
Hurts. I mean, Hurts had 41.
Hurts is a fucking cheat code.
Ian and Taylor could not even pass 41.
I barely did, and I came third.
and you barely did. I was the only one that respectfully passed 41 with 47.18. Like, that's the level of dominance.
Kadarius touchdown. Otherwise, you're in the same boat as the rest of us. Like, it was just Mark versus nobody, and then you and I versus each other, and then I don't know. I guess you and Ian are against each other as well in the overall, which we'll bring up in a minute. But a quick recap, though, Manjot, give us your team because you came in second. And we know that Marky Mark had Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. And then it wouldn't have mattered who we had after that because that's 50 bajillion points. Talk us through your team.
This makes me feel even worse for McKinnon falling down at the 1 twice because he got 7.9. And Mahomes 23.68, so I kind of need more stats from him, but he can have his MVP. Look, Gainwell was it as well?
Yeah, Gainwell.
Yeah, he didn't gain well this game actually for me, so 8.1, it's still respectable.
He almost had the first touchdown though. He almost took one off Hurts and got one.
Fuck, I had 3 times. 3 times. There's 3 touchdowns where it fell short to me at the 1. Like, that shit actually kills me inside right now. It's like, fuck, when you think about it like that, where you have 3 chances of getting more touchdowns. Oh,
but you also get the really arsey one of Kadarius Toney, where it goes to him or it goes to Kelsey.
I deserve.
How often does that go to Kelsey?
Yeah, I deserve this. Sorry, Manny, but I deserve that one. Like, come on, I gotta get some touchdowns. If I'm getting all of them taken away at the 1, I've got to get one from frickin' Tony. And it was good. It's good to see him run that corn dog route. I really love saying corn dog. I don't know why. I don't know what the hell's in a corn dog.
Might change that to, feature in the name of our show for next year, do you reckon? Just so you can keep saying it.
Just corn dog.
That might just be our fantasy team next year. We'll be the corn dogs.
Yeah, I don't think I can eat a corn dog unless it's like a pork corn dog or something. I don't even know.
That'd probably be pork, I reckon.
I don't think you can eat a corn dog, mate. Nobody really knows what's in one. And we still eat them.
Are you allowed to eat pigeon? Because I'm sure there's like ground up pigeon or something in there. I know, I've had a service station sausage roll and I'm not prepared to look at the ingredients.
Bit of a grey area. Yeah.
That's how I live, man. I've even eaten one of them and survived.
Yeah. Oh,
I eat them often.
All right. So just looking down the rest of the board, I've come in third every week in this segment, which I think is some fucking achievement for consistency. Yeah, but outside of Kelsey, you got half my points. The rest of the team was kind of, Juju turned up and played pretty well for a guy who picked last, and I was not expecting that many catches out of Jake the Snake Elliott. I thought was going to be my big savior, kicking 400 points, but turns out not. So just probably deserved to come middle of the pack, to be honest. And Tay, he comes in fourth with 39 points, and he gets the 13 from Pacheco, which I feel like is an unders, don't you? Don't you reckon he felt like he was worth more than that? He had the touchdown. He ran like his hair was on fire and like he was a freight train smashing into shit. Can't believe he didn't have more points.
Yeah.
Did Dallas got it make one single regulation catch, or were they all Schweppes classic catches from like when we were kids watching the one-day cricket? Like every single one of them seemed to be this freaky thing where he was barely hanging onto a ball, or whether he was clawing out of someone else's hands, or if he was getting assaulted as the ball was coming in.
He had a weird game. He had a very support heavy game, I think you could call it. There was a lot of blocking and a lot of just sort of just weird route running that got it during that game. So I think those few catches that he did have, yes, they were basically all just arsey catches.
It's fucking amazing. The guy's fingers are just strong as fuck.
Yeah.
Ian, your team. Walk us through your team, because sadly you got fifth, and then we'll bring up the.
We can just go. We just start with Swole Batman on 21.6. And then that's it.
It's a short walk.
It's a short walk off a very long pier. Obviously, we said MVS, nothing. I went with the Eagles defense, who got -1, and Boston Scott 2.7. I was really banking on a Boston Scott touchdown. That was about it. I didn't think he was going to get a lot of yards. I just thought it was going to be a TD, maybe add 6-7 points in there for me. But no.
A tough week out, and it turns out, as we bring up the overall here, you gave Taylor a race for the lowest score of the segment for the playoffs. He had a 28 the week before in championship week, so you've taken the crown. So well done, congratulations, mate, big win. 23 points, the lowest score. But you came into the segment late in the first week and still managed to roll up a 65, considering everyone else picked on the show, and then you were left to go vampire and pick from the bottom. So I think given that, and I've asterisked that score, to then come with a 51 in the next week, second overall by, a pretty small margin from Mark's 57 in the championship week, and then to have a disappointing Super Bowl. 195 in last place. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of in that. I think that's a pretty good indication that your fantasy world is starting to come together, and you're going to be a dominant force in fantasy next year, mate. I reckon. I'm calling it now.
I still doubt it. If you see,
once you win a few leagues next year, I'm bringing this up as a receipt.
No,
mate.
If you see the stupid decisions, if you could see the stupid decisions I make during the week of fantasy, and then I just revert back to what I had. It was just I make some dumb ideas. I just come up with some dumb ideas. I look at players. I just don't look at players in a fantasy way. I look at players in an NFL way and the way they're playing, and I haven't been able to switch on that part yet that says they're going to score some yards here, they're going to do TDs, they're going to, etc. So.
I think this shows you're getting it though, because while you don't get the touchdown from Boston Scott, the idea is right. You're this late in the draft. Who's the guy with the upside? So yeah. I actually think your fantasy brain is really developing. And this is why I say, and it's not just a cursory thing to make you feel good. I actually think you're really developing that, and it will continue to grow as long as you hang out with us and don't listen to anything that any of us say. Then you'll do really well, because we kings of mediocre advice.
Giving some mediocre fantasy advice. Put that on a fucking shirt.
Writing it down.
Yeah, once we got to the point where I realized that I could possibly beat Manjot, I did actually put a little bit more thought into things. Yes, I was just like, no, I'm going to try and beat Manjot here. After that second week when I beat him, after he threw out that massive bet.
Yeah, 100%. You're like, right, I'm after you, son.
I was like, no way, I'm going to try and beat Manjot now. Well, because obviously Manjot and I were the show together. We had to
and you got him 2 weeks out of 4. He just got you by 3.5 points in the overall. So I mean, that's as close to guess, mate. That's a last minute field goal as time expires. That's what I think that is, man, John.
Yeah, it's very, very close, man.
Yeah, very mate. Close. And I would have called that, except I didn't call it. But I'm going to take the W.
Let's talk about the big story out of the leaderboard, though.
Okay.
The big story out of the leaderboard
is
that Taylor does not win everything. And that Marky Mark takes the number 1 position with 300 points, 300.18 over Taylor's 278.34. So he didn't just beat him. he beat him by 20 some odd points.
He beat all of us by a lot.
Oh,
Yeah,
touched us up.
100%. He beat me by being you by more than 100, mate. So yes, he beat us by a lot, but he beat Taylor by a lot, and obviously, as you guys have seen in the years, especially Matty with Taylor, he gets really stuck in and tries to obliterate. He takes it as challenges. I can see
he's trying to game it all the time too. He's a scientist.
Constantly, even in the way he talks, and he suggests things to you, trying to get you to go a certain way. Yeah. There's a lot of the manipulative salesman.
You can tell he's a career salesman, can't you?
You can. So
many of us are though. Marky is, I am. A lot of us are shit talkers. That's it.
But having Marky win, this is a good thing.
It's a good thing. And have you noticed on the leaderboard too? Us four are all smiling like geese, but Mark is serious and looking authoritative. And and it's him from the top.
Smile. That's Marky's smile.
And here he is from the top, looking down on the peasants, mate. There you go. So Dynasty Mark.
Forming a dynasty right there.
Exactly. Yes.
Did he win every week or something? Or am I tripping?
Second week. No, Taylor just
bobbled the second week.
Taylor smashed it.
Well, he came second in the second week. Who cares? It's still Dynasty 3 out of 4. That's a Dynasty.
Squeaked the first week by like 2 pubic hairs. It was like 0.06 between him and Taylor in the first week. And then Taylor came out and just laid it out like it was laying pipe in the second week. And then Marky just hit his straps. And just ran away with it.
Unreal.
Man.
It was good.
It's crazy how Taylor came second last in the last 2 weeks for both weeks.
That's what did it. I actually think Taylor, and that's where I was talking about the dilution with it, with more people picking it got hard. And I think Taylor was picking on the fly more than he likes to do. I got that feeling in listening to him.
Ian putting this all out there.
So, I don't think he's going to admit that. I don't think he'll admit it.
He won't admit it. But listening to him last week, I could tell. Like there was a few points where I knew he was going to pick, and I hear Mark pick it, and I hear you pick it, and I pick one, and he goes, "Oh, I was going to go that. Oh, I was going to go that." And he was getting very deep in the weeds on his list, and I could tell he wasn't even picking off his list. I think he was.
Whoa! That's a ball call. That's a ball call.
Look. No, you guys have poked a bear. I'm sorry. Look, I was talking earlier on the pod about how I like to defend Brady and Mahomes. I'm going to defend Taylor. Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Happening?
Taylor is a champion. Yeah, this is.
He is.
This is fucking happening, Matty.
But I'm saying that the way.
I know. I said I wanted to punch him in the face, but look, that's the sort of competitiveness me and Taylor have. Now the thing is, I respect Taylor's competitor. I would never talk shit about like him being like bad or he's off his game. Like, he's gonna beat my ass next year.
Did I say he was bad? No.
You said he was off his game.
No, I didn't say I said we threw him.
Shocking. Yeah.
I said we threw him off his game, mate. That's different.
But he's gonna find ways to beat that. I know that.
He did. Look at week 2 where he got 113 points.
Yeah. But
he got more than me and you
combined, remove that twist next year. That twist next year is going to be absolutely removed, and Taylor's going to find a new twist that he'll find a way.
It needs to be said. Taylor came up with those twists.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
So to Taylor's credit,
right on the end of the knob.
To Taylor's credit, he didn't come up with twists that would favour him because he knew what he was going to do. He came up with a twist, and then things fell the way they fell. But I
think he came up with the twists hoping it would go a certain way, and then it
really did not.
May not have played out how he hoped. But no one's better researched than him, and I think he probably still had people he wanted to pivot to, and he was going to be happy to be thrown off his game a little bit because he plans for a lot of stuff. But I do think you shook him a few times, guys, and I'm really proud of you.
So we did right, and that's all right. I think it's more people. The fun. I think we found the right balance for this year for the things that we had.
I think so.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And I've really seriously enjoyed having the big cast. I had no idea how it was going to work, and it's taken a month for us to really get it right. But I think we've got it right. How do we have space for all of us to get our points in? How do we have space for us to all do things that play to our strengths and can give some interest, and how do we, access each other's good humor as well, because that's a huge part of it. We're brash, we're irreverent, we poke shit at each other, we say pretty brash things, and to give everyone space to do a bit of that as well and lean into our personality types. I think we found a way to do it. I feel really close to a lot of you after this month. I really do.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Can you please gently cut my balls?
You're saying you don't know if you want to take a kicker?
Just getting balls gently pulled with Robbie Gould at the end there.
That was a dagger right to the nutsack, Penny C. Thanks for that.
Well, look, I've gotten the whole way through everything that I want to make sure we recap, from the prop bets to the whole lot of our bold predictions, now through the fantasy stuff. And we're getting pretty close to the end of things here. Can I have 2 minutes here just to do a bit of a wrap from the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show parts of things? Firstly, I want to start on Marky Mark. Dynasty Mark has been with us in every season of whatever we've called the fantasy show that we've had. It was the Astro League Fantasy Football Show before, and now it's been the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show for this year since we retooled it. Brought Manjot in, who was an extraordinary find, and we've been really lucky to have come on board. And I want to thank him for everything, Manjot, that you've brought to the show in this 12 months and everything you've brought to our media presence. Just everything you've brought.
So good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been good. Been
really
a lot of fun.
And I think Taylor has seriously enjoyed having you on as well. And I've got nothing but big thanks to Taylor, who is really well researched. He's a consummate professional in what he does, even if he does say really brash, scarily shocking things at times. But I don't know. He just has this quality, and people really warm to his quality that he brings to the show. And then he brings the knowledge, and you can see that in the way he touches us all up, and the way he just wins leagues as well. You can put him in any format of league and he finds a way. And I think it's really great to have somebody who's that strong and has that track record to be really the star of our analysis part. And we're really lucky to have Taylor. So Tay, if you're listening, firstly, hope the family's all okay. And secondly, mate, thank you for everything you've contributed over more than 100 shows just on the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show this year, plus everything else you do. So big thank you from myself. I feel like I speak on behalf of Manjot on that one too.
Yep, you do. Definitely, man. See, I was just offending Taylor, but obviously deserves a massive thank you, for what he's done this year. It's been great. Been great having Taylor on the show. It's going, it's just great to see, Taylor win everything again, keep the trophy. I mean, look, I have a lot of respect for Taylor. Come on, man. Like,
he won a 16-team half PPR with fuck all benches twice in a row. That's something. That's really something.
He kept what I was just about to say. He kept the trophy in the family. Same with you, Matty. You kept the trophy in the content league within the family, which is good.
Can we find him like a big American league that we can enter him in on behalf of Aussie NFL Fantasy next year?
The big baller 32-team league or whatever.
That'd be cool.
I saw that
we
shit.
pay to enter him in, and then you've got something to talk about like every week. How you going, mate? Like what's going on here? And
how come you're 4-1? What's the matter with the one? What happened?
He needs to represent us. He needs to represent the Australians.
100%. He's probably the best person to do it because no one works harder on it than him, and it shows up. He makes it sound like he doesn't do that much work, especially the way he presents, because he's so casual in the way he presents, and he just talks like every man, right? But he works really hard on it, and just have a look at his results. It tells you.
We need to enter him into a big baller league for sure.
Okay. We're fucking on it. Manjot's researching it right now. I can see he's got his serious research face on.
I'm finding it.
And I know him well enough already to know that he would be incredibly uncomfortable with all this praise you're giving him right now too.
100%. He'd be sitting here squirming, absolutely. And then he'd say something about me and I'd do the same. So I'm glad he's not here to gush and be awkward. Now, Ian, firstly, You've turned this show that you've got, the G'day Gridiron with Manjot, into something that just didn't even exist as the season was about to start. Do you want to provide a bit of a season wrap for the G'day Gridiron section as well?
Yeah, look. I mean, it's been an interesting year. Manjot and I talked about it seemingly, I think, the week of week one.
Yeah.
and we should do something coming out of a previous podcast, and we really wanted to do something, and we haven't achieved, I think, some of the things that we had initially talked about, but we've definitely had a big year. We've definitely had a good year. I think our content has gotten better, and I think every week we tried to do something a little bit different, trying to find our niche and our lane, didn't we, Manjot? It was just sort of just trying to find that way, and try not to. It's hard. It's a very hard thing to do a 2-person podcast and not have it sound monotonous every single week. And I think there was a couple of times there where we did like 3 in a week, and I was just like, my head is everywhere. And I was incredibly tired from trying to work and then do the podcast and then family and stuff. So, but it has been fun. It's been great. It's meant that this year's been great because it meant that I've met you guys as well, and some other guys as well. There's obviously the other Aussie NFL content guys out there as well, and had some chats with some guys, and it's been a good year. It has been productive, and I've liked it. I didn't know how it was going to go, and I've definitely got some big ideas moving forward. A lot of big ideas. Sometimes my wife says too many big ideas.
No such thing.
But so it's been great. I think it's been great. It's been G'day Gridiron has gone kind of the way I wanted. There has been more things that I wanted to do. I'm glad I didn't try and fit them all in. Otherwise, I'd be going insane like Manjot does every week, doing 150,000 podcasts in a year.
Aussie record for NFL podcasts in a season. I think you broke a record.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, so I mean, wait, Ian, you finished with your bit, by the way.
No, well, mate, right. We're gonna at some point. I'm gonna look up the Guinness. We're gonna enter you in the Guinness Book of Records, I think.
It's been an insane year, insane season. Look, firstly, before Maddie does it, I want to steal your bit of thanks to Mark. Obviously, No Hard Dynasty just launched like halfway through the season, kind of like my podcasting career last year, where it launched halfway through the season. So, Mark has been doing really well with his show. I really love listening to his positional recaps and those what's it called? Like those, it's like the team of the week and team of the year stuff he likes to do. Yeah, that sort of thing. I love to have him on like the draft and analysis for Good Egg Gridiron because this dude knows all about the draft, and I haven't even started looking at the draft yet, but I will be in a couple of weeks. But yeah, look, it's been a huge, huge year for me. A lot of expectations coming out of last gridiron season. I think there was a bit much expectations personally for myself after having a bit of a breakout last year.
Yeah.
But I think this year I did step it up a little bit. There's some weeks where I was like absolutely everywhere and I was doing like a gridiron related thing like every single day. And it was like insane where it was like, one day I'm recording Good at Gridiron, and there's Aussie NFL Fantasy, and there's Good at Gridiron for like 2 nights in a row again. And then we go into MN live streaming, do AC Gridiron commentary, and then, Sunday I have to rest, but then like, I have to do my uni assignments, and then it's like,
set all your lineups in your 50 leagues.
Set my fantasy lineups, watch NFL and whenever like
live reactions then through the game days. Like, it just never stopped for you, mate.
It never stopped. Yeah. So look, I do miss the NFL. It's been like 3 days. I do miss it, but at the same time, I'm kind of appreciative of the break that I'll get to like really set myself up in other non-NFL things, especially talking to like friends who don't follow the NFL. It's like, it'll be like much easier now that I'm not in the full game mode, but I will be coming back for free agency and that sort of thing. It's just, it's been a jam-packed schedule for me. I think I just don't get a break from live or football until like June, July. I think that's pretty much where I'm gonna be at for the near future. But for now, it's a really good having done like 120 podcast episodes, I know like we did like 4 a week on Aussie NFL Fantasy, two
Yeah.
a week on Good Egg Gridiron. So it's pretty much like 90 during the season, during the fantasy season. I did like 90 full episodes and then
It
like
was 90
30.
just Aussie NFL ones without counting the G'day Gridiron ones. And then in this playoff
Yeah.
series mashup, I've just been adding them to the Aussie NFL count. So it means that we've got, by the time this publishes, this is the 104th in this series run, which is our biggest season ever.
Yeah, and then like 22 Good Egg Gridirons or something, 26, I think it was. So
26, 27?
yeah,
27.
yeah,
27. There you go.
27. There we go. So 131 podcast episodes
Yeah.
for me. That's
That's got to be a
hours.
record, right?
Yeah.
Anyone know any other Aussie NFL contributor who's doing 131 podcasts?
It's a big amount.
It's a
I
lot.
couldn't name it. Yeah, but it's a lot, especially being don't want to mention the age factor, but especially being someone who's pretty young like
Yeah.
me, I do have to admit I'm pretty impressed. Doing the amount I'm doing at the age of like 20, like just getting that far ahead in my career compared to smashing records, more not just breaking, but like smashing records, like 131 podcast episodes,
Yeah.
and then commentating like 15 full gridiron games. And yeah, it's a lot of hours. Probably put about 1,000 hours or something into this sport this year. So this season actually, and then that's not even including all the off-season content we did. But look,
100%.
man, I just keep going on about how much I'm doing. But I'm pretty proud of myself, pretty proud of the boys. I think we've done well. There's a huge project. I think we're going to announce in the near future. I don't want to, foreskin it too much. There you go. I can use the word
you
now.
can use foreskinning.
Yeah, I could use the word. I'm
Yeah.
growing up a little bit.
Look at that. Not so scared of your mum walking in and telling you off.
No, I'm in my bedroom. I'm all alone. No, yeah. That's why I said it very softly so no one could hear it. But look, there you go. Look. See,
That's growth right there. That's growth.
Yeah, little moments like that. We grow. It's
Baby
been
steps.
pretty good.
Baby steps.
100%.
Yeah, hopefully.
Will ever saying more erection-based things as he gets a bit older, mate. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I think NFL off-season won't really be an off-season for us. I think
Probably not.
we'll preview that a little bit, right, Ian?
No,
right,
yeah, absolutely.
Matty?
Look, let's talk a little bit off season, okay?
100%.
So obviously this is the end of our 2022 season. As it is, there is going to be some off season content from all of us on the separate shows, probably together. It will depend on who's doing what. There's going to be little bits and pieces. Matty, for Aussie NFL Fantasy, any off-season content? I don't think you've got any, is there?
We're going to take a short break because, as Manjot said, we've put a lot of episodes in and we've worked really hard this season, and the mental load has been considerable. So we know we've actually still got plenty to come through the off-season. So we're going to take a couple of weeks break now, and then through March return with I'd run a series in the past about fantasy football for beginners as a monologue series, and I'll revamp the information that's in them and get them out to try and help people, have a touch point for where to start with fantasy football. But through the off season too, Manjot and Taylor had been all over the free agency last year, and we had some really great shows around that. We'd like to bring that back. And then also, as we lead into the draft, there will be fantasy relevant stuff. And because that's what we do, we're only dealing with a fantasy element of it. But you can rest assured that stuff's coming.
Yeah. So then obviously with G'day Gridiron, I am going to endeavour to do a bit of a look ahead for every team. So maybe a 20, 30-minute piece on every team. I'm going to try and pull in some people from around Australia, whether they already be content creators or try and find some new ones. I'm going to try our endeavour as much as I can to make a little bit of a Australian beat reporters circuit, if I can, if you kind of call that. Look into every team. I really want to do a little bit of draft stuff with Mark and get a bit of that going as we get into the draft space and free agency in terms of how it relates to the NFL as a whole. So you guys do fantasy, obviously. We go with the analysis stuff. Yeah. And then moving forward, we will, fingers crossed, hit one of the big targets that Manjot and I had early on for G'day Gridiron, which is try and draw in a lot more of the Australian gridiron leagues and have a talk to these guys and promote Australian gridiron and really try and push that forward and push it into the international NFL space as much as we can as that's sort of gaining traction and get some of these amazing athletes that are around Australia that are playing gridiron now with huge potential, just seen and known about, I guess, help them be known about a bit more before they go and try and tackle the big task and the big opportunities in college and anywhere else in America. Mark obviously has got a whole bunch of draft specific content coming out right now. You can find that on all of our feeds. You'll find that I will start putting that up on G'day Gridiron as well. It's on Aussie NFL Fantasy feed, and it is on 100%. Mark's No Huddle Dynasty feed as well. He's been looking into the individual positions as they relate to the draft, coming up to the draft. So guys to watch and talking about the different guys there. He loves that stuff. We love it. We love that he loves it. He is kind of almost pretty much our draft specialist at this point.
He's the foremost mind, I think, on this island for it, to be honest. I don't even think there's anybody who I'd prefer to listen to in terms of Australian content producers who are around Dynasty and pre-draft and draft-based stuff than Mark Downey. There's no way. Dynasty Mark is his new name going forward, and he is going to become the go-to person in Australian fantasy football for Dynasty. And mark my words, he is going to be that guy.
And that's exactly what we want. We want it to happen. And then pastry press, Manjot. There will be some bits and pieces on pastry press. Manjot is going to take a break. He has assured us. He's assured everyone he is going to take a little bit of a break.
I think I have to.
No one's earned it more, to be honest.
It's not really going to be a break, guys, because I still have to do a freaking law degree. So it's pretty much just a break from the NFL.
He's going to take a break for the NFL to do his law degree.
To continue
just do a law degree for a holiday
and sports media, but
so he's gonna take the fun aspect of his life and put it to the side for a little while he delves headfirst into law.
Into only a law degree, 100%.
Into only a law degree. Something the rest of us, and I can wholeheartedly say this on behalf of the rest of the boys, something the rest of us could never achieve. No way at all.
I don't know what I'm doing to myself half the
We're
time.
all
Don't worry.
The other four of us are all salesmen, so we're just dumbasses who can talk people into buying dumb shit.
Look, I can talk a lot too, so that's why I'm a lawyer. That's why I'm going 100%. To be a lawyer, hopefully. Yeah, but look, I mean, with pastry presto, I think sometimes, and I know I've already mentioned how busy I am with all the other podcasts and stuff, but sometimes I'm like, okay, haven't done enough content on Pastry Press this week. This is what we got to do. We got to get more posts out. So I think, I'm going to try and do more posts. We're going to try and get some more of the social medias going up for Aussie NFL Fantasy G'day Gridiron as well. But on the Pastry Press specific part, I think, more free agency probably be my time to shine. I think I'll try and get quick reactions out there as soon as I see the news. I'll just go on my camera, get the phone out, get the camera out, just be recording my reaction. Oh my god, Devontae Adams got traded, man. That was I could do stuff like that. I'm not
There's going to be there is definitely going to be some content. I mean, we all know you're going to take a break now for a few weeks, and then we hit free agency, and then we hit draft. And we will build up. And I think the most exciting part will be afterwards. Stuff. More local stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So me and Maddie going to play in a flag tournament on Saturday. I think we could interview a few of the boys. Get them on Pastry Press. That'll probably be a good 2 weeks of content that I could make in one day. I think that'll be that's probably the easy way out.
Efficient use of time, man. There we go.
That'll be the efficient way.
Pastry Press and Maddie podcast are going to be just full of shit from this Saturday. It's going to be. Awesome.
Look forward to it. I look
Cannot
forward
wait.
to
Gonna
all
be
the
good.
shenanigans
So,
and
look,
all the nonsense. So
Yeah.
yeah, as my commentary career winds down a bit, my playing career is just starting up, I guess. So, the gridiron doesn't stop for me. I haven't actually felt like it's been like I haven't felt off season has been too long the last couple of years because I've been
No.
playing gridiron all year round, playing flag all year round. So it's actually not felt like a long off season at all. It's not felt like the 207 days that it is. So, it's good. It's good. Hopefully get some more of the boys from the leagues.
yeah,
Just get them to talk and hopefully we get to do nationals in Wollongong or wherever it is or Canberra or wherever it is. Like
No
there's a
matter
lot
what
of
happens,
places.
we'll have opinions about nationals, whether we're part of a media team there or whether we're doing it on our own. We'll be on top of
we'll do it.
nationals.
We'll do it. Yeah, definitely. Good luck to all the boys there. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good off season, I think. And yeah, I'm very excited. I think this is where the real season might be starting because we get all the news, all the rumors, and then all the smoke, all the previews. I think later on off season, I'll hopefully get the boys. This is one more thing I want to do. Hopefully get the boys to do like a division by division each week, so they all line up. So one week we're all doing like the same AFC West, for example, where we do a good egg gridiron and Aussie NFL fantasy for that. And I
Yep.
think, that's one of my ideals to
Yep.
get out there. I think that would be perfect, get Pastry Press on board with that, right up a preview for all four teams in that division. I think that's one of the ideas I want to put out there as well for the boys. So, there's a
Like
lot
that.
still to come. Yeah, so
it's still gonna be a big off season. But
yeah,
it's
it's
100%.
gonna be massive.
things just won't be coming at you on a regular basis, I think, and that's going to be the biggest thing for all of our listeners and our watchers to understand. But if it doesn't matter which one of our feeds you follow, you will see everything, and we will have 100%. We will have within the next few weeks a big announcement in terms
Yes.
of the Aussie Gridiron space. And the way we network together and the way we are trying to pull together the Aussie Gridiron content as we go forward. Not just our shows, but there will be others too down the track, hopefully. So there will be some news, 100%. So look out for that on our socials. We will do that right. We're going to get that set and we're going to do it right. And we're going to push forward and we are going to try and help grow this game as much as we can. As
Down
we go
under.
forward in the future, under,
Yeah.
down under.
And hopefully we can get our prongs into an American market a bit. I mean, we've been lucky. We've pretty well organically always had 4/10 of our audience be folks from the US. So it's kind of nice to know that some folks are enjoying the brashness and the Aussie ideal of how we approach some of these things. So hopefully that is something that continues to be a part of what we do as well.
100%, 100%, and 100%. A absolute goal of mine is that in some way, shape, or form, this entity, this thing that we are going to announce, this thing that we've got in the works, at some way, shape, or form, I would love for it to pay for a few of us to be able to go to the US for a week or so, maybe during sort of draft or sort of preseason stuff, and be able to get in and have the balls to be able to mingle with the other big beat reporters and NFL media types, so that we can get in with the Australian guys that are over there in the States in the college system trying to get into NFL teams, the guys that are in USFLs, XFLs, and the guys that are definitely in the NFL, and try and get some of those stories firsthand, one-to-one, as they go along through preseason stuff. I want that to happen. That is going to be a big goal. It's going to be on our board 100%, because I think that'll be great for everything in terms of the game as we go forward. So
just a quick message to the towns I'm going to be visiting through that June-July period as well. Denver, you better draft some Aussies. Seattle, you better draft some Aussies. There's 2 teams in LA. You guys better draft some Aussies because they're the places I'm headed when I'm over there in June and July.
Hey, you got Michael Dixon.
Just forewarning.
Seattle.
Yeah, well, he's going to need to get Seattle into it, mate, and get him picking up more.
I'm going to be peppering the Eagles, saying, Matty C's coming over. Let's get Malata and Sipos. Let's go.
Let's go. Meet me in Denver, boys. Meet me in Denver.
No, go to LA. Better holiday location for them.
100%. 100%.
So,
Denver's a good holiday location for me. It's not really for anyone else.
let's see how we go.
Gentlemen,
we're
we
gonna wrap this
finished
up.
the season. We did
have
it.
finished it up.
Thank God. Thank
Big
God.
congrats.
Big
Thank you
congrats.
to you both for just all the
Yeah.
kindness and patience and good humor you bring. And enjoy your break.
Thank you,
Really
guys.
do.
I will absolutely enjoy
Thank you,
my break.
everyone.
Good on you, fellas. And we'll be back with some pretty big announcements pretty soon. So we're not going away. It's not goodbye. It's see you later.
This,
Yeah.
100%. All right, fellas.
Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen. Hooroo.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
The team I'm going for in this game is the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, I love Patrick Mahomes. I love Travis Kelce. I love that team. I also really fucking hate the Eagles, especially them fans talking shit about us. Look, I hope they get humbled in this game. I really do. Because I'm going for the Chiefs. I think the Eagles will win. I think that they're a good enough team that they can actually beat them by 2 scores. At the last minute, while we've been talking about this game, the one name that's been standing out to me is Patrick Mahomes. I think the Chiefs will win, but it'll be very, very close by 3 points.
When the Eagles win by 14, Manjo's going to claim that he won, or if the Chiefs win, he's going to claim.
He's gone
I'm
both.
gonna
He's
be
gone
hating
Chiefs and
myself.
Eagles and Chiefs.
He sat so hard on the fence that there are swimmers.